they were playing the song "We Shall Overcome" in the background. And to be honest, for a long time, I kind of disliked that song because to me, it was a song that, you just was like on a treadmill, going nowhere. Until I found out that song is being sung all around the world. Because people who are in a similar plight, they're in the process of overcoming their issues also. And I found that's just a common song that gives people the energy and the power and the focus and the galvanization to move forward. Is that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As I mentioned earlier, as you sing that song, what is happening, that song helps you to get your mind focused not on where you are, but where you see yourself becoming. As we looked at that video clip, what came to my mind was today I went to talk to an old friend who was also involved with the NAACP in this city, and he's now 89 years old, and I'm going to mention his name, Mr. James Henderson. Mr. James Henderson has been an organizer. He's been involved in this community. And I said, Mr. Henderson, I had to come see you because I wanted to get your perspective of someone who has lived through segregation and racism and doors being closed to you. How does this make you feel? And you know what he told me today? He said, it made me feel that I'm ready to go to heaven now. Because what happened was that with President Obama being elected, it became a reconciliation for a lot of people to know that the struggles that they were in has now come to a conclusion. They were able to see in their lifetime that it can happen.
That brings to my mind, how did I feel of all the work that we put in? And I feel very good, but often I'm asked the question, how does it make you feel as a black man? Mm-hmm. And naturally, I must say I'm proud. But the most important thing I'm proud of is being a Christian. After that, it's being American. And I think that it's bigger than a black thing. Yes. That when Barack became the president-elect, it meant that it was an American thing. It was a world thing, that the world will not be the same anymore because he became president. It means a Japanese, a Chinese, a Pakistan, an Indian, a male, or a female, that all Americans can be the best that they can be whatever, set their goals. And so it's not just a black thing, and it means that we, Americans, we can proclaim justice and equality all over the world and look at Germans and Frenchmen and England and look them right in the eye and say, we're not hypocritical, that what we believe truth and justice is for real. Look at our home and see what it's all about. And I believe that's why people are dancing all over the city. When there's a flood, neighbors come together. When there is a blizzard, neighbors come together. Mm-hmm. And when there's a crisis, people come together. And I think the timing and real estate is location. and in politics, it's timing. And the stars have all led up to this, that the timing. And spiritually, minister, if I may, just for a second. Look at Moses. You talked about him. He was born for a cause, but he grew up amongst the Egyptians. And he didn't know that he was that chosen leader. Let's look at Barack. Barack being biracial. He grew up on a Caucasian household, not knowing that he was going to be that mediator mm-hmm. between two, yes, to bring all people together. But in due time, the timing was right, and he grew up. Barack doesn't have the baggage that you and I have
right.
as a black man. So many times, and I'm going to make this quick, so many times black men can meet from California to Fort Wayne to Atlanta, and we can discuss a deep conversation of what the white man has done about us. Barack doesn't have that baggage, and as a result of not having that baggage, he was a perfect mediator to bring all things together and to bring what our forefathers hoped for back in when they created the Constitution, that all men are created equal. Even though there were some who disagreed, the intent was there. And it took all these hundreds of years for the true American dream to be manifest.
Right. And I like to add to that too. Sometimes dreams are not fulfilled because you're not ready to handle the responsibility of that dream coming into reality. Yes. What this is doing now for many of us is bringing the reality of responsibility. Let me give an example. One of the things that this election has brought to closure, there was a Supreme Court case in this country that set African Americans back many years. That was the Dred Scott case. It said that a black man had no rights compared to an animal. Well, this election has negated that now. It has now put us in a position now of greater responsibility. Not only did it bring greater responsibility, but this election has also put to rest the blood that's been crying out from the cities of Rosewood. It brought back into balance the blood that cried out of the over 4,000 black men and women who had been lynched in this country. It is now brought into resolution all of the riots that have taken place all over this country. And now the restitution has come. They didn't pay us a reparation, but we have reparation now because that blood that's been crying out for reconciliation, this election has brought that reconciliation of all of the hatred and all of the bitterness that we as a people had towards our white brothers and sisters. Barack Obama, through the grace of God, has brought this nation back together because the scripture says God is made out of one blood, all nations on the face of the earth. Yes. And that nation gives us the word, comes out of the word ethnos. Ethnos is the Greek word which means ethnicity. And God has brought all the ethnicities and the dreams together out of this election. And so what we need to do today, we need to get on our knees and pray for our new president and our first family and our Congress and our judicial system, because God is doing a new thing today. Yes. But we got to be prepared for the responsibility. Yes. I heard this, and I'm gonna be quiet. I never agree with Whoopi Goldberg, but she said something the other day on The View that was very profound. She said, for the first time in my life, I feel that I can take my suitcase home and unpack. And then she said, for the first time in America, we have someone who has been raised to the highest office of the land. And when he stands before our young black men and say, pull your pants up, come on, they're going to obey him because he has shown that it can be done.